Hey everyone, Amber here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this super fun project. I'm not sure exactly what to call it. It's basically just a chipboard book base with some cubbies or dimensional pockets inside. And yeah, I think it's a super fun project. I posted it on Instagram along with another one that I had made, and quite a few people asked for a tutorial, so I'm going to try to film one for you guys. This project does have quite a few different components to it, so I'm going to try to break it down and make it as simple as possible. So I'll just kind of quickly show you guys what this one looks like so you can get an idea of what we will be making today. So the base is made of chipboard, and I added shaker pockets to each piece of the outside. So here on the front there is a shaker pocket behind here. It's a little bit hard to see because I did add a ton of ephemera, but it's still there and you can see some of the sequins down here. The spine also has some sequins. I used tulle to create the shaker pockets and just used my sewing machine to stitch the paper and tulle together. And here on the back, you can kind of see the shaker pocket a bit more. This is the same one that's on the front cover. I just think it's a really fun, kind of decorative, interactive piece to have on the project. And when you open the book, you can see you have two separate little cubbies. They measure an inch thick, so there is a decent amount of space in both of them to add photos if you want to turn this into a mini album, or to add embellishments and Happy Meal goodies to send off to a pen pal. So lots of different options with this book. So I have mine, my cubby sealed with some Velcro. You could use magnets or make a little closure that you can add some thread to. But here you can see that both of them open. They're completely identical. And yeah, I think it's super fun. And this book doesn't stay closed very well on its own because it is so thick. So I like to use tulle or some twine to just kind of tie it closed. But I think that the project is super fun. So we're just going to dive into making it. So the first thing you're going to need to create the very basic base of this project is some chipboard or cardboard. You could use something from a cereal box, food box, cardboard box, or just go out and buy some chipboard. So you will need two pieces that measure 6 inches by 5 inches and one piece that measures 2 1/4 inch by 5 inches. And to wrap the chipboard, we are going to be using some white cardstock. So here I have two pieces of white cardstock that measure 8.5 by 11. And to make the piece long enough to wrap all three of my pieces of chipboard, I just adhered them edge to edge using some double-sided tape. So the way we are going to lay our chipboard out and adhere it down is like so. We are going to take the spine and we are just going to put it in the middle right along this seam here. And we want to leave about an inch at the bottom. It doesn't have to be exactly an inch. And then we are just going to line up the other two pieces so that there is about 1/8 of an inch of space in between those and the spine. If you want to get super precise about it, you could use something like a ruler to just leave an equal amount of space on either side. That is what I used to do, but lately I just like to kind of eyeball it, and that seems to work fine. So this is how we are going to adhere it down, and then once it is glued into place, we will cut the excess paper off all the way around so that each side has about 1 inch of paper left on it. So I'm going to start with the middle piece. I already have some of my double-sided tape on the back here. I am using score tape. Let me know down below if you guys use this. I used a different tape I got from Joann's, and lately I noticed it wasn't really adhering well, so I ordered some of this off Amazon, and I'm hoping that it works well. So I'm just going to center the spine right in the middle along the seam that we made by gluing the 2 pieces of cardstock together. And then I'm going to just use my scoring tool to make sure that it is stuck down in place. And then I will just next glue my larger pieces down. So like I said, we just want to leave a little bit of space in between the spine and the back or front of the book. So I'm just going to eyeball, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch or so. You don't want too big of a gap, and you don't want it to be right up next to it, because then it won't fold properly. So just eyeball it, it'll work. And now I'm going to adhere the last piece down. Alright guys, so now that we have our adhesive down, it is time to wrap our chipboard. I have already done the bottom here so that you can kind of see the look that we are going for. You're basically just gluing the sides down. So I am going to remove the backing of my tape, and I'm going to start from the center and then just slowly work my way down the sides. Take your time, you don't want to get any creasing or pulling in your cardstock. And then once you have it down, you just want to run a ruler, your fingers, your scoring tool over it to make sure that it is really stuck down. And now it's time to do the smaller sides. So before we do this, we want to make sure that the corners aren't going to be too pointy. So to do this, you can take your scoring tool and you can kind of just gently fold in the corners so that then when you fold it over, it's not as sharp. And I'm just going to do this on all of the corners before I start folding. Alright, so now that the little corners here are folded in, it is time to glue down our other 2 smaller sides. So we're going to do it the same way as we did the longer sides. Just fold it over and secure it down. Do the same for this one over here. And you can see that because we left the paper longer when we trim the corners, that we don't have any gaps over here. So it looks nice and professional and clean. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm just going to make the little folds here. So where this space is in between the chipboard, you just want to run your scoring tool along there and then gently fold it up to 90 degrees. Don't fold it all the way over. It can't do that and it will rip. I'm going to do the same for here. Don't press too hard, just a nice little score. And then you will see that our book base has taken its shape. So now it is time to mat the book. So to do that, you're going to need some pieces of paper. You're going to need 2 pieces for the inside that measure 4 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And then you will also need a piece that measures 3.5 by 4 3/4 inches. So I will leave all the measurements for the whole project down below so that it's easier to follow. So you want to take the piece that measures 3.5 by 4 3/4 inches, and we want to glue that down right in the middle and kind of center it so that you have an even amount of paper on either fold line here. Now, I don't like using tape to adhere this down just because I feel like air bubbles get in there, and then when I go to fold up on it, the paper crinkles and I don't like the look of that. So I like to just use a glue stick or wet glue. I feel like with this you can really glue it down and get in all the places that tape might not be able to. So I'm just going to apply a generous amount of some glue onto the back of my paper here. And then I'm going to center it as evenly as I can. And then I like to take my scoring tool and just go crazy, smoothing it out, making sure that it has adhered down all over. That way when I go to fold up on it, it doesn't crinkle. So take your time and just really make sure it's adhered down. Alright guys, so I have smoothed it out as best I can, and now I'm just going to gently reinforce those fold lines. You should be able to see them peeking through naturally. But I'm just going to very, very gently fold up on that, and then do the same for the other side as well. And then you should be able to just fold in, and the sides will come up because I use a glue stick and it's not totally dry, but once I add the pieces for the front and back here, it will hold those down. So I'm just using this pretty pink paper from the Carousel collection, and I'm just going to adhere those right in place like so. Alright guys, so I have adhered my inner pieces down, and I'm just going to gently fold up on them. Make sure everything's working nicely. And now we have the inside of our book complete. So to cover up the outside, I have my pieces already made. So again, I did shaker pockets for all of the outside just because I think it's really, really fun. So I have my front piece here, which these measure the same as the inner pieces, so 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then this one measures 2 inches by 4 3/4. So that will go there. And then the back piece will go here. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere those down, and then I will be right back to show you how to create the little cubbies. Alright guys, so I have completely adhered the outside down, and you can see like the fun shaker aspect. I just think that's really, really cute. And then again, the inside is done. So now it is time to move on to making the pockets or cubbies or whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure what to call them. If you have a better suggestion, leave it down below because I don't know what to refer to them as. So I'm going to go ahead and set the base aside for now. And I'm going to bring out my little mini scoreboard here. This is by We Are Memory Keepers. And to make the pocket, you are going to need 2 separate pieces of paper. So you are going to need a piece that measures 5 inches by 7 inches to make the lid. And you are going to need a piece that measures 6 inches by 9 inches to make the base of the pocket itself. So again, all the measurements will be listed down below in the description box. So we are going to start with the lid first. So I have one here that I already did. You just have to make 2 score lines. So go ahead and take your piece of paper that measures 5 by 7. You're going to put it in like this in your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 2 inches and at 3 inches. And then all you have to do is fold up on those score lines and your lid is done, ready to go. So to make the pocket, it's a bit more of a process. I have one here that is done and ready to be assembled. So this is what we are going for in the end, just to kind of show you guys. So you want to take your paper that measures 6 inches by 9 inches, and you want to put it in your scoreboard like so. And to make the pocket dimensional so that we have an inch of space to add goodies and stuff to, we need to make 2 score lines on 3 of the sides. So we are going to score it at 1 inch and then at 2 inches. Then we are going to flip our paper all the way around so that we can do the same on the opposite side. Score at 1 inch and at 2 inch. And then you just have to do the same score measurements on either of the long sides to create the bottom. So again, score at 1 inch and at 2 inches. Because my scoreboard is mini, I have to flip it over to get the score lines all the way across. But this is what you should end up with after you added all your score lines. And now we just have to do a little bit of cutting. So we want to cut away the 3 outer squares. So you can see we have a corner here that has 4 squares. We want to get rid of the 3 outer ones so that we can make the 4th inner one a little wedge. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut the 3 outer squares off and just completely get rid of them. We don't need them, so I like to cut off the bottom 2 first and then cut off the outermost top one. So you should get this, which is like a little stair kind of pattern. So just repeat that on the opposite side. And you should have something that looks like this now. And to create the little wedge, we're just going to cut up on the score line here till it meets the top of the score line right there. And that will just separate our wedge from the rest of the project. So that way we can use it to adhere the pocket together. So you should have something that looks like this now. And because we have 2 cubbies, we need 2 lids and 2 pockets. So I like to add all of my paper to the pocket and the lid before I adhere the 2 together, just because otherwise the pocket's not very stable, and if you're trying to glue something down, it's going to get a little bit crinkled. So I have all of my pieces of paper to mat both my lids and my pockets here. And again, I'm not going to go over all the measurements for them in the video just because there's a whole bunch of different sizes, but I will leave them linked down below. So for my pockets here, I chose this pretty floral pattern that is one of my favorites from the Carousel collection. And I've already added some stitching and stuff earlier off camera. And this is basically how your matting is going to look. So I'm just going to lay out the matting for both of my pockets. And that is all the matting you're going to need to make your pockets look all nice and pretty. And for the lid, you are going to need some pieces for the outside, which will be this part here, and then also the inside right here, just to make it a little bit more decorated. So for the outside, I chose this pretty blue with some gold polka dots, so that will actually go on the outside here. And I have 2 pieces for that. And then on the inside, I chose to go with the stars so that it will match my paper right here in the spine. So now all I have to do is just glue all of this into place. And then I will be back to show you guys how to assemble the pockets and put them into your book. And then all you have to do from there is decorate and make it pretty, and yeah, you're pretty much done. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have completely matted all of my pieces here and they are ready to go. So I'm going to start with the lids here because I glue those down into the book first. So I'm just going to fold up on my score lines here. And you should have something that looks like this once you've done that. So you can see here that when you open the pocket, you'll have a nice pretty patterned paper. Alright, so now that I have both of these done, I'm going to take my book here and I'm going to open it, make sure that the front is on the front, and then I'm just going to evenly adhere these down. So you really want them to be even so that when they meet up, when you close the book, they will meet up perfectly and it'll look nice and finished and just really nice. So I'm going to use my score tape and I'm just going to apply some of it to the back here and then adhere these down into place. Okay, so just keep it as centered as you can. And then go ahead and adhere it down. And I'm going to add this one on and use this side as a guide. Okay, so now that I have my lids in place, I'm going to assemble the pockets. So you might see here that we have this white space on our pages. The pocket is basically going to cover that up. You could add some pattern paper to this if you want. It's going to be the inside of the pocket, so I don't really see there to be any need for pattern paper, but if you want it for your project, now would be the time to add that. So to assemble our pocket, we first want to fold up on all of these score lines. And then we want to add some adhesive to these little squares. So you want to fold those up and then add some adhesive to the back of them. I personally like to use hot glue for this part just because it's so quick drying and fast, but I don't have a plug-in to plug my hot glue gun in right now, so I'm just going to use some of my double-sided tape. I'm going to remove the backing. And the first thing you want to do is fold this tab in, and then you're just going to fold up the bottom and adhere the tabs to this piece right here that's in the middle. So just take your time doing that and make sure that the corners measure up nicely. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and fold this piece down, and then you are going to just fold these two pieces over, add some adhesive here on the bottom to just hold it all in place, and that is going to be your pocket. So I'm going to add a couple more squares of adhesive, and it's just going to be right here in the bottom corner. So So and again, just do this side by side. Don't rush and just try to line it up as nicely and evenly as you can, and then secure it down. We don't want to pull it too inwards because then it's going to bend, and we don't want to leave it too loose so that it's bending outward. So just take your time and get it as even as possible, and make sure, as always, that you have a nice crisp corner on the edge. So there is our first pocket all done. Super cute. I am in love with this paper. So now I'm just going to do the same thing for this pocket. All right, so now we have both of our pockets here. And the last step to assembling this book before we can decorate and everything is to adhere these pockets down. So I have my book here, and I like to just add adhesive to the bottom and the sides of this back piece. If you add it to this, it's a little bit harder to kind of position it, so I like to just add adhesive to the three sides. All right, guys, and now we are just going to remove the backing of the tape. And then, again, take your time. We want to get this as centered as possible. We are just going to lay the pocket right on top here, right over the base here. And that looks about even. And now I like to just take my scoring tool. You could use a roller, your fingers, just to get inside the pocket to kind of make sure everything is actually adhered down. And now I'm just going to do the same for this one. Alright guys, so this is pretty much the base now complete. Now that we have added our pockets, everything is ready to go, ready to be decorated and embellished, ready for photos if you're using it for a mini album, or goodies if you're using it for Happy Mail. I just think this project is so fun. So you can see here we have the two pockets that have a decent amount of room in there for whatever you want to use it for. And usually I would use Velcro to keep these closed, but I'm currently out of Velcro, so I'm just going to leave them as they are now until I can get some more of that. But when you close the book up, you can see that it closes nicely. My pockets did come out a bit uneven, but it still works. It's cute. The shaker pocket is a really fun aspect, and yeah, I just really hope that you guys found this tutorial helpful. I know that there was a bunch of little bits and pieces to this project, but if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm more than happy to get back to you and help you out. You could also DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is always linked down below, and I will also leave all of the measurements in the description box for every piece of paper and chipboard and everything that we used, just to make it a bit easier for you guys. Also, if you want to see how this project turns out, stick around till the end of the video. In a few seconds, I'm going to include some pictures of the finished project, and you can also check them out on my Instagram. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.